From Studio 1A in Tampa, Florida, comes a talk show that really feels your pain and tells you like it is. We love America and all that freedom-loving Americans want to protect. Live from coast to coast and on your radio, it's For the People with Keith Allen.
We'll help you survive this thing called life. We're for the people. Whatever your source of stress or strife, for the people is there.
Hello, Mr. and Mrs. America. I am Keith Allen and proudly welcoming you to this Wednesday Hump Days edition of For the People. It's August the 16th, 2017, and here we are, another day. And yesterday, as the media was trying to, I got you, you're a racist, you're this, you're that. Michael Moore has some choice words for us. We'll be talking about his latest rant, which is just unbelievable, but people subscribe to what he says. They like him. It's interesting, the people that do. It's how he makes a living. I mean, look at that face. Have you seen Michael Moore lately? Unbelievable. He has a hat on, and I'm seeing him with his glasses right now in this picture, and it says "No Surrender." Oh my goodness gracious! Well, you got to do something, to make a living, and then this is how he does it. It's just a shame the things that he has to subscribe to pimp himself out, if you will, to make money. I can't explain because some of the things that he says are just so preposterous. Donald Trump gave a speech and to a bunch of reporters at the Trump Tower. This is the first time that he's been back in New York since he took to the Oval Office, and it was kind of a big deal, but it was loaded with the press. But the big announcement was something that I'm very excited about, and some positive things are happening, and this has to do with infrastructure. He announced $1 billion infrastructure plan and expediting this for new bridges and new this and new that. I mean, we have infrastructure problems in our country, and do you know anything about the bridges, the rail system, etc.? I mean, it is in a disarray. It's terrible. It's old, and it needs dire repair. It's going to be in the trillions of dollars, actually. And Trump outlined it, how he's going to get it done. And this is a very positive, but of course, if you're watching any other channel or listening to most things, people did not give the credence to it. To me, we are going to do just that. Let's hear from the president himself, Donald Trump.
Hello, everybody. Great to be back in New York with all of our friends and some great friends outside the building, I must tell you. I want to thank all of our distinguished guests who are with us today, including members of our cabinet, Treasury Secretary Steven Mnuchin, OMB Director Mick Mulvaney, and of course our Transportation Secretary, who's doing a fabulous job, Elaine Chao. Thank you all for doing a really incredible and creative job on what we're going to be discussing today, which is infrastructure. We've just had a great set of briefings upstairs on our infrastructure agenda. My administration is working every day to deliver the world-class infrastructure that our people deserve and, frankly, that our country deserves. That's why I just signed a new executive order to dramatically reform the nation's badly broken infrastructure permitting process. Just blocks away is the Empire State Building. It took 11 months to build the Empire State Building. But today it can take as long as a decade and much more than that. Many stories where it takes 20 and 25 years just to get approvals to start construction of a fairly routine highway. Highway builders must get up to 16 different approvals involving 9 different federal agencies governed by 29 different statutes. One agency alone can stall a project for many years and even decades. Not only does this cost our economy billions of dollars, but it also denies our citizens the safe and modern infrastructure they deserve. This overregulated permitting process is a massive, self-inflicted wound on our country. It's disgraceful. Denying our people much-needed investments in their community, and I just want to show you this because it was just shown me, and I think I'm going to show it to the media, both real and fake media, by the way. This is what it takes to get something approved today. Elaine, you see that? So this is what it takes. Permitting process flowchart. That's a flowchart. So that can go out to 20 years. This shows about 10. But that could go out to about 20 years to get something approved. This is for a highway. I've seen a highway recently in a certain state. I won't mention its name. It's 17 years. I could have built it for $4 or $5 million without the permitting process. It cost hundreds of millions of dollars, but it took 17 years to get it approved, and many pages of environmental impact studies. This is what we will bring it down to. This is less than 2 years. This is going to happen quickly. That's what I'm signing today. This will be less than 2 years for a highway. So it's going to be quick. It's going to be a very streamlined process. And by the way, if it doesn't meet environmental safeguards, we're not going to approve it. Very simple. We're not going to approve it. So this is just, maybe this one will say, let's throw the other one away. Would anybody like it from the media? Would anybody like that long, beautiful chart? You can have it. So my executive order also requires agencies to work together efficiently by requiring one lead agency for each major infrastructure project. It also holds agencies accountable if they fail to streamline their review process. So each agency is accountable. We're going to get infrastructure built quickly, inexpensively, relatively speaking, and the permitting process will go very, very quickly. No longer will we tolerate one job-killing delay after another. No longer will we accept a broken system that benefits consultants and lobbyists at the expense of hardworking Americans. Now, I knew the process very well, probably better than anybody. I had to get permits for this building and many of the buildings I built, all of the buildings I built in Manhattan and many other places. And I will tell you that the consultants are rich people. They go around making it very difficult. They lobby Congress. They lobby state governments, city governments to make it very difficult so that you have to hire consultants and that you have to take years and pay them a fortune. So we're streamlining the process, and we won't be having so much of that anymore. No longer will we allow the infrastructure of our magnificent country to crumble and decay. While protecting the environment, we will build gleaming new roads, bridges, railways, waterways, tunnels, and highways. We will rebuild our country with American workers, American iron, American aluminum, American steel. We will create millions of new jobs and make millions of American dreams come true. Our infrastructure will again be the best in the world. We used to have the greatest infrastructure anywhere in the world. And today we're like a third world country. We are literally like a third world country. Our infrastructure will again be the best. And we will restore the pride in our communities, our nation. And all over the United States, we'll be proud again. So I want to thank everybody for being here. God bless you. God bless the United States. And if you have any questions, we have, Mick, you could come up here, please.
All right. Well, they have tons of questions. I mean, that was good news. And that was really buried, largely speaking, because everybody's tripping in the news media about Donald Trump, you know, saying, well, that there was fault on both sides. Well, technically, factually, actually, it's true. But that didn't seed well with folks that said that, well, those that assume and have said all along from day one that Donald Trump supporters are racist and bigots and homophobes and Islamophobes and anything else you want to throw in there. But because of Donald Trump saying that there was fault on both sides, then that it was an admittance that him and his administration are all racist. And at that press conference, you're going to hear some very interesting back and forth information from reporters and the crazy stuff. And, people are going to criticize this. This is a very tough thing to navigate once and for all. You can condemn the group. He condemned the group. Wasn't enough. When you're president, you are president of all Americans, and some of them are Nazis. They should have no place. But if you are protesting peacefully, which a lot of them were, most of them were, and for those that were counter-protesting, these groups got violent with baseball bats, with mace, throwing things, and they were just as violent. And it turns out the opposition group was the one that started it. You can't have it both ways if you want to protect the First Amendment. There's a book that's called Explaining Trump. I think Newt Gingrich, trying to explain the mindset, the thinking. I really believe that Donald Trump is a practical person. I think he's a reasonable person. But every single word, every single thing that he says will be scrutinized. I mean, he is not a politician. It's very clear. I mean, he's the president. It's kind of an oxymoron to say he's not a politician. He is a politician. And Donald Trump's going to have to learn, I believe, to really just be all so careful. And maybe, as some people have alluded all along, but it's not Trump to be on the teleprompter all the time. But he has had some excellent moments where if he would just stay on point, stay on the teleprompter, he may not get in this much trouble. But when he speaks from his heart, and there's been some awful things that have been said about Donald Trump in the last couple of days by some conservatives, some good things with the conservatives. Kratheimer says, well, the reason that he did not address, and I disagree with Charles on this one. I agree with a lot of things that he says. I think he's a brilliant mind. And by the way, Charles Kratheimer is a psychologist, besides being a great commentator. That's what was his initial study. But he says the reason that Donald Trump, and I thought this was very interesting, and this was his opinion, that Donald Trump did not call him by name there because it wasn't in his heart to say it. I'm like, how do you know what's in his heart? Sometimes it's hard to know what's in anybody's heart. You can only go by how people treat people and what people do with their actions. I don't see any pictures of Donald Trump with sheets on, running around, burning down crosses or lynching anybody. I don't see him supporting people, giving speeches and high-fiving David Duke and such. I don't see him doing that. But, man, he's taken a lashing from this. This is the PC world now that we live in. You have to be all so careful. And because Donald Trump is white, after 8 years of having an African-American, look, I'm just putting it out there. I'm friends with a lot of African-Americans and a lot of minorities. I am married to a Puerto Rican, so I am definitely not a racist person. I understand that racism is real, but not everybody is racist in this country, and thank God for that. It's really difficult to survive in this country to be that. Seriously, I can't imagine working for any Fortune 500 company or a broadcasting corporation or having an opportunity to be on the air to do that. Do you think for a moment that if I was, that the Liberty News Network out of Salt Lake City, which the founder is religious, loves the Lord, and brings his family up in the gospel. I mean, he would never do that for a moment. Folks, be careful. Be so careful. No matter what side you're on, What you just be careful to label somebody. Everybody labels somebody quick and just says, "Oh, he's